I've got a gift for you all, and I hope you appreciate it. I bring you the largest haul I have, largest haul I have ever collected as a game collector. So, for the people who don't know, I am in good old Phoenix, Arizona, and every single time that I travel to a new place for work, I like to browse around different game stores in the area, just kind of give my business to local game stores because I love local game stores. I love the concept of small businesses. I love the concept of traveling, and so it kind of always gives me something fresh to do when I travel, aside from go to the local museums and attractions and landmarks, etc. So, without further ado, I wanted to make a video summarizing all the cool things that I picked up this time. It was probably the first time that I've done like a whole circle round of places. And normally, just due to how I budget for my finances, I decided to ball out for the month on all 5 of these stores. So yeah, hopefully it is a phenomenal video for you guys. So let's jump into it. So the first store I ended up going to was House of Used Movies, Music, and Games in Mesa, Arizona. This was right off of East University Drive. And overall, I can't say that I liked the store. I'm gonna try and avoid, reviewing these stores because at the end of the day, these are stores that are trying to, make a living, try and do their thing. Of course, not every single small business is always going to be a good business, but the point of the video is kind of to show off some of the things I got and just some of the collecting I did, while also talking a little bit about the store. But of course, I'm not going to bash them, but I'll point some things out where I point some things out, and I'll give credit where it's due. So that's kind of how I wanted to sum this up. But because they were a movies and games and music store, I ended up getting 2 items that were not, music, movies, and games or whatever. So that's something that I wanted to point out as I unveil this haul. So here are the games. Enough rambling, enough talking. So I'll start off with the movies. They were doing a 70% off everything sale. Apparently the store is moving to Florida, so they were doing a 70% off everything sale, and I was pulling into the parking lot, and I was on the phone with my girlfriend, and I was like, yes! And she knows how I normally get with games, so she was like, baby, calm down, relax, and make sure you are spending your money wisely. But lucky for her, there was not that great of a selection at the store. So I got these 2 anime DVDs, the Naruto Shippuden Blood Prison movie. So I normally like to get box sets when I collect my movies or TV shows, and it having a movie sealed up like this was something that made me go, okay, yeah, like I'll definitely pick this one up. And also the Gundam, Mobile Suit Gundam Unicorn movie. I am not a Gundam person. I actually got this as a gift for a friend. I'll be uploading this video before I go back home to give him it, so if he is watching it, then he'll know. But this is a gift for a friend, so I was really surprised that this was on the shelves, and I decided to get it for him. So, but anyway, on to the games. The Welcome to PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Network disc. This is not a game, but I'm always interested in kind of like console-specific media. So if it's stuff like, tech demos, and there is a tech demo that is included among the whole. But yeah, so if it's a tech demo or anything like that, then I am just absolutely excited, ecstatic to get it. So here it is. Welcome to the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Network disc. So I'm going to read the back of this. It says the disc contents are the Welcome to PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Network videos, current and upcoming game trailers, and Blu-ray movie trailers. Yeah. There's not much to talk about that one. I got Bloodborne, so not only do I not own a copy of Bloodborne myself, my brother owns a copy of Bloodborne, but I don't own a copy of Bloodborne. And this was a very, very cheap copy of Bloodborne, so I have a copy of Bloodborne now, and I think it's cool. And also Dark Summit for the Xbox. This is a game that I've heard talked about a lot. It's kind of like the Xbox's SSX. I don't think this game is on the PS2. If it is, then someone please correct me or let me know, but a lot of snowboarding games were really popping, and by a lot I mean primarily SSX. Like those sports, extreme sports titles were really a huge thing back in the early 2000s because they were a huge thing in general in the early 2000s. So I'm really glad that there is a good Xbox Extreme Sports video game that is available for purchase, and that is what I got there. So, but overall, I'm going to put a little bit of some of my footage from the store. I didn't get a ton because it's my first time doing this, but I would say that the store was not the greatest in terms of its organization. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't something that I prefer, and I quickly was just kind of tapped out while browsing. Another thing that also didn't help was they had primarily, Japanese titles, or they just kind of scattered them around the Japanese and US titles, so the organization wasn't great. If you've been following me on my TikTok, you'll know that I talk a little bit about what makes a great game store is having phenomenal organization, looking clean, looking neat. I have received some pushback on this. I know some people have said that a good game store for the consumer is one that doesn't really organize that well, and of course, as you can see, I got some pretty good deals off this stack of games, but yeah, that is, so, and I'll be transparent with my prices as well throughout the video. Overall, I spent $13.38 at the store for the games, and I believe $6 on the 2 DVDs, so pretty solid price. Pretty solid price. Next up, I've got One Up Video Games. This was a great store to go to. It was well designed. I think it was clean, and the owner was super friendly as well. And yeah, I got some really good games off of this one, so let's not even hesitate with this. Let's just get straight into it. I'm going to be taking them out of the bag because there's just so much here. But starting up, I've got Bayonetta and Bayonetta. Oh, here it is. There you go. I've got Bayonetta and Bayonetta 2. The Bayonetta 2 copy ended up in a different bag, but I've got the Bayonetta games on the Switch. So I got the Bayonetta 3 Masquerade Edition, which was a special collector's edition that came with a ton of cool stuff like the Bayonetta 3 art book and some other Bayonetta memorabilia, but it also came with a case for the Bayonetta 1, 2, and 3 games, and of course a copy of the 3 game. I was super excited when I first opened it because I was like, man, they are giving me Bayonetta 1, 2, 3 just in a collector's edition. This is awesome. I was like, wow, and it was for such a cheap price because I got it through Amazon when Amazon retailers are running their deals. And nope, turns out it was just 1 and 2 cases and a 3 case for the game. And so I am very particular. I don't know if I have OCD or anything, but I'm just very particular about how I want my shelf to look, and like it bugs me every time I look at that game because I'm like, there's nothing in there. It's just a case sitting on the shelf, and I have like maybe 1 or 2 out of like my 600 plus games that are like that. So, and yeah, I had to rectify that as well. I got a pretty good deal on these. I was talking to the cashier about it, and he was like, well, in that instance, I know he normally does bundle deals as well. And I was like, well, here's what's going on here. And so he gave me like a nice, little knockoff price off way at 1 and 2, which is really awesome. So I don't really encounter that when I go to game stores. But, recently, even when I was back in, central New York, I ran into that as well. So, again, more reason to support your local game stores. Not that you'll expect that every time, but just more so that it is really cool to interact with people that love video games. And, if they see that your heart's in the right place and you're collecting video games for the fun of it, then you may see that. But yeah, overall I got Bayonetta 1 and Bayonetta 2. This is like a nice little pamphlet from the first person who owned it, I guess, but pamphlet. It's more just a receipt from the shipping company that they ordered it from, probably. But now that I have these, I actually do really like their reversible covers. They're not really reversible, they're just kind of the inside artwork, but I now have an opportunity to either display these correctly across my shelf, which I might do because I kind of like things to be a little bit more uniform, or I could finally fill up those empty cases. But that's enough about Bayonetta 1 and 2. Let's continue to dig into more things. I got Metal Gear Portable Ops Plus. So the store had Portable Ops and Portable Ops Plus. I didn't know what the difference between the two were, so I just finished Metal Gear Solid 3, and I realized that, oh, okay, MGS1 was about Snake, MGS2 was about Raiden. Not about, but they were the main characters regardless, and MGS3's MC was the OG Snake, Big Boss. And I had heard that all these different side stories like Metal Gear Portable Ops, Peace Walker, and I'm going to eventually dig into 4 and 5, I already have those, are all super fun games. And now that I have Portable Ops, there's not a single other Metal Gear side story that I am missing. So, yeah, Metal Gear Portable Ops. Next up, I've got Tales of Vesperia. This was a JRPG series that had a lot of fame back in the day, I think, because it was primarily on Xbox, or it was exclusive to Xbox 360. And that in and of itself was kind of crazy because Xbox being an American company and their demographic liking mostly shooter games, you wouldn't expect a company to go, yeah, or a company like Bandai, as I'm noticing right now, to be like, yeah, let's make an exclusive RPG for the Xbox. I don't know if this has been remastered and re-released since then and released to other platforms, but I always like to kind of play things at their starting point. It's why I own Bayonetta on like the 360, even though like most people associate with the PS3, but it's why I own Bayonetta 1 on the 360, because I very much like to play things kind of at like a ground zero level. You know, I'm not really a huge fan of like re-releases or, you know, ports, later ports, but I do find them interesting. And Tales of Vesperia is a game that I'm not sure if it has a re-release or remaster, but I'm excited to jump into it eventually because I like RPGs, and the concept of an Xbox exclusive RPG is very interesting. Next up, I've got PlayStation 2's The Secret Saturday Beast of the Fifth Son. Beast of the Fifth Son. This is more of a nostalgia pickup. I played this game when I was younger, and the whole point I even started my collection was because I wanted to play games that I played growing up, right? I just kind of wanted to dig back into nostalgia, dig deeper. I wanted to dive back into nostalgia, right? And the PlayStation 2, collecting for the PlayStation 2 was the main way I did it, and it just kind of snowballed into other things until I started just collecting for the fun of it and just learning more about gaming history as I went on. And, you know, The Secret Saturdays Beast of the Fifth Son was a game that I remember liking a lot. I loved the show. Still has one of my favorite plot twists now that I think about it, because for a while I didn't remember the show, and then, you know, I'm a huge Ben 10 fan, so I remembered, oh yeah, they did collab with the Secret Saturdays, and then I started remembering the Secret Saturdays again, and just overall fun times. But yeah, it's here now. So next up, Final Fantasy VII Remake. The beauty of the Final Fantasy VII Remake is that I am halfway through Final Fantasy VII, the original, on the PlayStation 1. As I've said before, I love playing things at their ground zero. I got Final Fantasy VII for the Switch digitally, and then I started collecting, and I ran into Final Fantasy VII for the PS1, grabbed that, and started, you know, the game on the PlayStation 1. But I got the Final Fantasy VII, I got Final Fantasy VII Rebirth last Christmas for my brother, and I realized that, oh, like, I guess kind of keep the trend going, I'll play Final Fantasy VII on the original hardware, then I'll play the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and then I'll play Rebirth, and just, you know, get my Final Fantasy VII fix there. And then I'll play Crisis Core, and then I'll play Cerebus, Dirge of Cerebus, or whatever, and I'll just get so Final Fantasy VII pilled, I'll never have to touch Final Fantasy ever again. I say I like it's a bad thing. I love Final Fantasy X, but yeah, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Looking forward to jumping into this one. It is. It has a data disc and a play disc. That's actually very interesting. I know these games are huge, but I know Final Fantasy VII's Remake is huge, is what I should say, and the project they've encountered with that. But yeah, looking forward to touching this. And Disgaea 7 for the PlayStation 5. I have Disgaea 1 through 6. I'm very proud of that. I love Disgaea 5. Or there's just a bit I played of it because I played the demo and I got hooked on that. Then I got the full game, played a little bit of that, and I was really liking it until I got distracted from other games and eventually forgot about it. But then I started collecting again, and I started running into the Disgaea titles in the wild. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and they're all scattered across different platforms, but that's not something that really bothers me. I actually kind of like it a little bit, and I ended up getting Disgaea 7 for the PlayStation 5 because it would be the 7th in the series, and it would help kind of complete my Disgaea journey and collection, So now that I have all of them, there's no excuse for me to not just kind of play all of them in a row, and I hope to do that soon, Maybe on stream, maybe for you guys, we'll see, because I'm thinking about getting back into streaming, but this isn't a video to discuss plans. It's a video to discuss the haul, and this was a part of the haul. So, next up, I've got Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 3. I have Ultimate Ninja Storm 1, and I think I have Ultimate Ninja Storm. I have some other Ultimate Ninja Storm game on PC, on Steam, but I don't really, of course, count my Steam library as a collection. I only started doing that recently, but that was from back in the day. And yeah, so I decided to get one. Now I've got 3. I found 2 out in the wild, but it was really dirty. One thing I really don't like from game stores is when they don't clean their games, because then I have to clean them, or I'll just kind of go, I guess that's kind of good enough, and then I'll stick it on my shelf. Then I'll want to play it again. And I'm like, then I have to run into it and clean it, but before I touch it, and it's like, just please wipe down your games with hand sanitizer wipes or something. I'm just begging you. I don't want to see like straight dust on things. But yeah, Ultimate Ninja Storm 3. I didn't play much of the Ultimate Ninja Storm games growing up. My brother is a huge Ultimate Ninja Storm fan, and I've kind of been half collecting these for him, even though he doesn't touch retro games a lot. But he'll always come to my room and be like, "It's time," and I'm like, I hope so. But yeah, Ultimate Ninja Storm 3, super excited to get into that one. The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Now, I am a huge Skyrim guy. And no, it's not because I love the gameplay. I actually find it to just be okay at best. It's not because I like the story. I find that to be even more average and middling. It is because it is so funny to me that Skyrim is dirt cheap and re-released so often that I saw one video, one TikTok that will always live rent-free in my mind. And it's a dude taking a copy of Skyrim and going, I drank a beer, another beer, 3 beers, 4 beers, 5 beers. It's like Skyrim stacked onto each other, and it just lives rent-free in my head every time I see this game in the wild. So what I've tried to do is get a different copy of Skyrim every single time I find one out in the wild. And this is one that I was able to find. I have Skyrim Legendary Edition for the PS3. I don't have Skyrim Base Edition for the PS3, and that is what influences. It's a really funny bit to me. Who knows, maybe it will actually be funny when I'm able to recreate the video. It's still funny to me when I look at my shelf, and yeah, I find it funny. So that's why I'm doing it, and it's dirt cheap. So next up, I've got Assassin's Creed 2. I don't like the Assassin's Creed franchise, but these games are piss poor, and how I got into collecting them was somebody basically just gave them to me for free. And I was like, well, I already have them on my shelf, and I'm always the type of guy who I like saying like, oh yeah, like I have the entire franchise of that. So if anyone's like, oh, like I really want to play blah blah blah, like anyone I meet on person, I'm like, oh, you can borrow it from me. I got the entire franchise, right? And people love Assassin's Creed for whatever reason. And so that is something that is finally over with. I can put the Assassin's Creed franchise to rest, to bed, because this second game was all I needed to complete the series. And yeah, $4 by the way. So that's what I mean when I say it's pretty cheap. Indiana Jones 2 for the PlayStation 3. I recently finished the Indiana Jones movies with my girlfriend. My girlfriend is a huge Indiana Jones fan. And the Indiana Jones games, I've heard, are also pretty solid. I loved the movies. I thought they were awesome. You know, it's one of those things where I used to make a huge part of my personality being that I haven't watched Star Wars yet, and I haven't watched Indiana Jones. It was my sophomore year of college where I watched the Star Wars trilogy, the original trilogy, and I had seen the prequels, like, you know, when I was younger, like in passing, like not in the sense of like I actually knew Star Wars lore, what was going on. But I saw the original trilogy, the thing everyone likes and cares about, and I was like, this is pretty good. You know, this is pretty solid. But the Indiana Jones movies, I actually genuinely love. But before I go on a rant about Indiana Jones, I have the first, you know, game, the original Adventures, and Indiana Jones 2: The Adventure Continues. You know, it's in here. I'm not sure if this is adapting the first 3 games, adapting the 4 movies, I think, just based on the villains I'm seeing on the cover here and Shia LaBeouf's character. But yeah. But that is everything from the store. This was One Up Gaming, right off of Alma School Road, Mesa, Arizona. And yeah, I really liked their store. It was awesome. Owner was super nice. His layout was really awesome as well. And yeah, no, phenomenal store. If you live in the Mesa, Phoenix, Gilbert area, then I would highly recommend checking this store out. So and I forgot, my bad. I spent $236 on these titles. So next up, oh yeah, this one is straight from Gaming Zone, which is in Gilbert, Arizona, I believe. But there's a whole lot of stuff here, more stuff than any other store, and it's because I like their store the most. So they gave me overall a nice little shirt, and it comes with getting their little membership. So I got my membership thing, you know, waived off, which was really nice and really awesome. So you know, I just got into the Phoenix area, and it was super dope that I was able to, you know, find a game store that was like, oh, welcome, and here you go. So it's like a lifetime deal. I think it's worth it for anybody. It was $35. It's lifetime, and you get 10 to 15% off. And even when they do sales, that number goes up just based on what, you know, I heard, and or what he told me. You know, I don't know if that will change in the future, but yeah, this is really awesome. The shirt's pretty cool too. Let me actually open up this shirt fully. So yeah, so as you can see here, it's like a, you know, Mario skull, and it says retro never dies, right? That's the back of the shirt. This is the front of the shirt, which makes it really nice and low key. I like it a lot. So of course there's a lot of appreciation for Mexican heritage in this area. So and I think it's really cool to see a game store like incorporate it that way. So, but our first game, Sonic Origins Plus. I had been looking for this Switch game for a minute, primarily because I'm a huge Sonic fan, and I like Sonic games, contrary to popular belief from Sonic fans. And this was one that, even though I've heard that it is not the greatest port of the games, or at least it wasn't at the time of release, it is still something that I really wanted to get and try for myself, because when it comes to a lot of the games, I like to get them and try them for myself. So, but yeah, Sonic Origins Plus. Crash Bandicoot 4, it's about time. So, I played Crash 1, and I didn't really like it. I like the aesthetic and the vibe, but you know, the gameplay, which is kind of like, you know, the whole 70% of the opinion thing, was just like, well, not gameplay, the level design. The level design was played Crash 2, that was better. I like that. Ending wasn't as great, but I liked it. And Crash 3 was probably my favorite out of the trilogy. But now Crash 4, which people have told me is a really awesome love letter to the Crash franchise, and it is the perfect foundation and platform to revive it. But of course, as we all know, things led to another, and you know, thankfully Toys for Bob, which is the developer of this game, is back. They're doing their thing, and hopefully you can see more Crash Bandicoot in the future. But trust me, I know what it feels like to have a beloved PlayStation platforming mascot be done dirty. I know what it feels like. And I'm excited to try Crash 4. So, there's no special art in here. But there's a game. We got Little Big Planet 2. So I think the reason these games are quite cheap is because online is a huge thing that makes them, work, makes them tick. And I have Little Big Planet 1. It's actually kind of crazy. I was checking my Game Eye, which is an app I use to track my games. And I realized that I have Little Big Planet 1, I have Little Big Planet on the Vita, I have Little Big Planet on the PSP, but I don't have Little Big Planet 2. And so I was checking that, I was like, why don't I just get Little Big Planet 2? And so that's what I did. So I've only really cracked open Little Big Planet for the PSP for like a short period of time. But I'm hoping to actually dig into this series, at least as much as I can, outside of the online aspect. Speaking of Crash Bandicoot, I've got Crash 1. This is more of a completion thing. I don't know why Crash 1 is so expensive, because Crash 2 and Crash 3 are not even as close to being expensive. But for some reason, Crash Bandicoot 1, man, it's expensive, man. It is expensive. So, yeah, Crash Bandicoot 1. And I finally have 1, 2, 3, and now 4. And I am excited to play 4 and say that I'm well versed in the PlayStation mascot atmosphere. So, yeah, looking forward to it. Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. The older Baldur's Gate games are ones the Baldur's Gate fans would say are pretty good. So don't let Baldur's Gate 3's success fool you. It is not the only good game in the Baldur's Gate franchise, according to others. And I am excited to try Dark Alliance and see if I like it for myself. I haven't really heard that much about the game itself, aside from the fact that it is one of the older Baldur's Gate games that are good. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Xenosaga for the PlayStation 2. I have had my eye on this game for quite some time, and I'm grateful I was finally able to pick it up. It's the Greatest Hits Edition, which I'm not really too upset about. I've never been the type of person to be upset over Greatest Hits or Black Label, because I just want to play the game. I prefer to get Black Label if I ever have the choice, but Greatest Hits versus a Black Label is never going to deter me from a game. The only time that's ever done that is with, I believe, Sly 1, because no, it hasn't deterred me. I guess more so, the only time I've ever paid attention to it is with Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus, because there is different box art, and I hold appreciations for just both those box arts to the point where I want both of them. It's weird. But Xenosaga, I finally got it. I don't know that much about the game itself, but I've heard, of course, through the great gaming grapevine, that anything with the Xeno prefix is peak. So I'm excited to try it out. So next up, PlayStation 2's Winter 2002 Jam Pack, which is brought to you by PlayStation Underground. I was talking about it earlier, how the PlayStation demos are things that I'm quite interested in, and this one has a solid amount of them. SOCOM US Navy SEALs, Primal, Ratchet and Clank, Wild Arms 3, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4, The Mark of Cree, and Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus, which is, not gonna lie, the main reason why I picked this up. And some PlayStation 2 videos such as Tomb Raider and Rygar, which I assume are games that weren't in a demoable state, but they wanted to show off. So, and yeah, looking forward to jumping into this as well. I have more of these, back in Ohio, but now I've got one more to add to the collection. I think that's cool. Speaking of Baldur's Gate, I got Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 2 for the PlayStation, for the Xbox, for the original Xbox. Wow, brain just for the original Xbox. And the reason I got it for the original Xbox is because the Xbox's version of Baldur's Gate 1 was not in an actual authentic Xbox case, which I've been trying to be a little bit more picky with my collecting. Otherwise, I'll just spend my money willy-nilly, which may seem like I'm doing now, but trust me, there's a method to madness. And yeah, again, more of a reason of the fact that I've heard past Baldur's Gate games are good. Normally when I pick up a game and I know I'm going to try my best, like my absolute best to get into the series, like I'm not gonna half-ass it, I try to get the sequel as much as humanly possible, especially if it's not that expensive. And so this was only $20, and I was able to just kind of grab it. So yeah, Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 2. It was there in the store as well, alongside Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 1. So decided why not. Next up, I've got Dead Space 2. Now I've got Dead Space 1's remake, and I want to hop into Dead Space 1's remake, so I decided to get Dead Space 2. And it was actually a friend of mine, Sam, who convinced me to pick up the Dead Space series, or I guess like you just even think about it, right? And so now I expect great things. So normally that's how I kind of treat all my recommendations. I expect high and great things from the Dead Space franchise. So I had to get the second one because if I finish Dead Space 1 and love it, I'm going to want to jump right into this. So. And next up I've got Darksiders 3. I've got Darksiders 1. I've got Darksiders 2. And now I've got Darksiders 3 for the Xbox One. Yep, because I was wondering if this was a Series X or an Xbox One game because they share similar cases, but yep, Xbox One game. And yeah, Darksiders 1 and 2. Fun story, the Darksiders 1 and 2 and 3. Oh, this was done by a different developer. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, never mind. I thought this was done by the same dudes who did Darksiders 1 and 2. I don't think Gunfire Games did Darksiders 1 and 2. Someone correct me in the comments if that's the case. But yeah. And for my little sister, I got a Kirby swimsuit, pool floaty plushie. Look at him go. Just yeah. And a cool thing the store does is they do a mystery bag of different games across different platforms. I got a Nintendo Switch mystery bag. So mystery bag was worth $30, and it has games that are rated E/PG-13 or teen, or E10 plus. I think E10 plus is the equivalent in gaming, but or by the ESRB. So it's kind of like gambling, and you know, I dabble. So I couldn't say no, and I wanted to open this while I was doing the video. So without further ado, let me open it up, and I'll reveal exactly what it is on camera. I'm really excited. I'm really hoping this is actually a good game. So. Oh, never mind. Okay, so the reason I had that reaction was because I own Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle, and so I thought this was just Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle, and I was like, I hate ending up with duplicates in my collection, either because I didn't log them correctly, and I went to the store and was like, I don't have this, boom, or just like if I end up being in a scenario where someone gives me a free game, and I'm like, well, thank you, but I don't know if I should display this because I'll be like, someone will be like, why do you have 2 copies of Smash Bros. Brawl or whatever, which is something someone has said to me. But either way, this is not that bad of a pick as I thought. So yeah, and I opened this up and saw that there are 2 things in here. So it was actually a Nintendo Switch game and a Blu-ray disc. So let's see what the disc is. Will Smith's Concussion, which is based on a true story. Even legends need a hero. Pete Hammond says it's the best performance of Will Smith's career. High praise. He got a Golden Globe nomination off of this. Yeah, this isn't what we're here for, but yeah, Concussion by Will Smith. That is the disc. So, I mean, I kind of have to try it out, right? So, Next up. Yo-yo. I feel like a kid on Christmas. Hey, yo. Yo-yo. Okay. Is anyone able to know how yo-yos, like... As a kid, I could never actually understand how... Oh, shoot! Oh my gosh. There was more stuff in there and I forgot. Hold on. Yeah, so let's see if I still got it. I think I gotta like... I think I gotta wind it back up to like actually use it though. I'm gonna look up how to use this. But it's cool. I like that. I've got a Bumblebee Mario sticker. I've got a Mario using Nintendo Labo sticker. He's being greedy. He's not letting Cappy share. I've got a Kirby sticker. You know, confused, dazed, hit. I don't know. I got a sticker of the greatest new gen anime protagonist of all time, Tanjiro Kamado, my goat. And I've got a sticker of that squirrel, the Squirrel Man from Mario Brothers U. Yeah, that was when he first showed up, right? Oh, and I got an Electabuzz sticker. That's probably the most worthwhile thing in here. Yeah, and I got a free arcade 1 hour pass. Oh, it's a 3 hour family pass. My family's not here to extend it for me, but yeah, 1 hour pass. Cool. Yeah, so again, phenomenal pickups from the Gaming Zone, right? That is the name of the store. I spent $259.14, which was taken off $26.59 off that just because I was a loyalty member as of that day. So, yeah. But the Gaming Zone was an awesome store. I really liked how organized, neat everything was, and the people were super friendly. The store had a really nice just layout, I feel, in terms of how it presented all its games. It was awesome. So, and I highly recommend it to people. It is fresh off of West Guadalupe Road in Gilbert, Arizona. So go look them up and tell them Ganache sent you. Alright, they'll probably be like, who the hell is that? Okay. And finally, the last haul. Damn, why'd I just drop it over here? This is from Fallout Games in Mesa, Arizona. I'll actually just do the readout right now. So I spent $171.11 on this haul. And yeah, they are off East Southern Avenue in Mesa. So they were the last store I went to for the day. Had to grab a quick lunch right before I went to the store. So, and let's just dig into the games I got. So first off, I got Rune Factory 5. The Rune Factory games. The manual fell out, by the way. The Rune Factory games are games that I immediately are on my I love these so much train because they still do physical manuals in the year of our Lord 2025 or in the 2020s era, and that is something that I absolutely love. I played a little bit of Rune Factory 4. I've been searching for Rune Factory 5 for a minute, and now I finally got it, which is super dope. And I've got Triangle Strategy. This game is also one I've been searching for a while. I'm a huge Fire Emblem Three Houses fan, and I've heard that this is basically just Square Enix's attempt at doing Fire Emblem Three Houses, and you know me, I'm not offended by that. It just means I have something that's Three Houses adjacent. And if it fails at that, I can just crack a joke or two. I don't know. The channel needs a running joke, so this might be it. But next up, I've got Code Vein for the Xbox One. This is also a title that just kind of caught my eye while I was browsing, and it was super cheap. It was like $9, so I was like, you know what? Let me give it a try. I feel like Bandai Namco has a couple of these RPG or like action RPG. This has to be an action RPG. Action RPG-esque games that have come out on the Xbox series of platforms. This and also Scarlet Nexus is one of them, I believe. And yeah, I'm excited to try that. I played a little bit of Scarlet Nexus. And I thought that was cool. I want to try it again. And so hopping into Code Vein would be an interesting, task, is what I'll say. Next up, I've got Forspoken. Now, a lot of people dunked on this game when it came out, primarily because of its pretty bad voice direction, because it just felt like the lines were just really weird. But I do kind of want to try it. I'm a little interested, I guess. It's published by Square Enix and developed by Luminous Productions, I assume. Otherwise, it can't be developed by Square Enix. There's no way. But yeah, Forspoken. I'll try it out and we'll see how it is. I'll keep you guys in the loop. So next up, I've got Fire Emblem. Next up, I've got Final Fantasy VII, Dirge of Cerberus. This is a Final Fantasy VII game that is a point and click. It offers a little bit of backstory in terms of what happens before the events of Final Fantasy VII, based on what people tell me. I'm excited to jump into it. The lady at the cashier told me that these games, or this game, is a point and click, because if you open up the manual, it will give you an overview on the base controls. You see here that it says, oh yeah, use your DualShock, but then you turn to the next page and you see a mouse and keyboard. You see a mouse and keyboard. How many PlayStation 2 games are using a mouse and keyboard? How many of us? How many of us? There's not many of us. Can we still quote that guy? But yeah, I'm super excited for Final Fantasy VII Dirge of Cerberus, trying that out. I'm going to play Final Fantasy VII, do my Final Fantasy VII run through gauntlet of those 3 games I mentioned earlier, 7, Remake, Rebirth, and then I will touch Crisis Core and Dirge of Cerberus. And I will let you guys know my opinions on the Final Fantasy VII cinematic universe and how great it is. So next up, I've got Midnight Club Street Race. Now, Midnight Club is kind of this cult classic. A lot of people who grew up around this era have very fond memories of Midnight Club, and I want to share in those fond memories. I have Midnight Club for the PSP, and I have Midnight Club for the original Xbox, but I don't have a Midnight Club game for the PS2. I lied. I do have a Midnight Club game for the PS2. I think it's like 2, or it's like Delta 3 Remix or something. But I got one. And yeah, so excited to try this out. I don't have the first game. I have the first game now, and I'm super excited to try it out. But oh my gosh, please don't tell me. So there's now going to be water damage on the back of this one, because I was like, oh, I have some trash for my lunch, let me just throw that away. Let me take this out of frame. So there's going to be a little bit of water damage on this one. I'm going to try and clean it out right after this video, because apparently I still had a tiny little bit of Coke Zero left in that can, and it just hit my bag. So that was cool. So yeah, but Samurai Warriors for the PlayStation 2. I have like Extreme Legends for the PlayStation 2, so it's another one of those things where I like to have adjacent games. So this all started because of Onimusha, actually. So just speaking of samurai games, but this all started because of Onimusha, because I got Onimusha 1 and I was like, I think I just want to complete the series of this. So I got 2 and 3 once they were at a price that I was comfortable with, and did that. So, but yeah, Samurai Warriors, y'all. But that's not all I got from this store. But that's not all I got from the store. I also got these 3 keychains. So you notice how I mentioned how I love 3 houses? I got 3 houses keychains. So I'll actually bring this a little closer. This is the Blue Lions one. This is the Golden Deer. And this is for my favorite house, the Black Eagles, because the Church of Saros does not count as a house. And yeah, I'm super excited to use these. You know, I'm probably the first person in recorded human history to say that he's excited to use a keychain. But I'm excited to put these on things and showcase my brand loyalty that devolves into fandom loyalty. You know how people rock, you know, Hufflepuff or whatever, and Slytherin and all that junk from Harry Potter. Yeah, this is like that for me, but it's for a way more niche JRPG game. And I say niche like Fire Emblem hasn't sold 4 million copies. Where am I going with this again? Yeah, so overall, those were all the hauls. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in and just listening to me ramble about these video games that I've collected and gathered over my, you know, morning/afternoon in Phoenix, Arizona, and the Phoenix area. Collecting video games for me has been something that has brought me a lot of joy, and I'm grateful that I get a chance to share it, even if it's to a very small audience, because it feels really nice to talk about the things that you love and the things you love to do. And I want to continue to do that and continue to share my love, not just for video games and the different you know, ways that we all interact with video games, whether that's through, you know, actually playing them, collecting them, but also just for the different media and arts that has really made an impact on my life. So I want to thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart, and I hope to get more content out to you guys, especially more consistently now that the job situation has kind of cooled down a little bit. But thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you all in the next video.